Hi, Dr. Doug Graham here, author of the 80-10-10 diet. I've got a special treat in store for you today. For Let's Cook Raw, I have Chef Raphael Resch.
Nice to meet you.
What a treat to have you come visit me in Vienna,
Yeah,
all the way from somewhere Germany.
yeah,
Where?
in Ingolstadt.
Yeah, somewhere Germany. Ingolstadt.
Ingolstadt, yeah.
Ingolstadt, Germany. Wow. We just keep bumping into each other.
Yeah, we do.
I saw you in Austria a few weeks ago at the Austria Fruit Fest, which you organized with your
Yes.
mom. Saw you in England at UK Fruit Fest.
Yes. Yes.
Saw you in Cedar Woolley,
Cedar
Washington,
Woolley, Washington.
right? At my
Culinary.
Culinary Skills Week.
Yeah.
Culinary Skills Week. We just keep bumping into each other. It's
Yeah.
rather way cool. And now here in Vienna, come to visit us, stay a couple of days, and just have some fun. We went walking. We went to the Arboretum.
Botanical garden.
I'm sure that Botanical Gardens had a name, but I don't know exactly the name. But Vienna Botanical Gardens was a spectacular afternoon. And here I just want to get to know a little bit more about who you are and what goes on inside the head of Raphael a little bit, just so people can know you. Maybe let's start with the basic story. What was it like when you were a kid? Were you eating just the way you do now? Was it different? What was special about growing up?
Yeah, my growing up was maybe different, although at that time I didn't know. But yeah, my father was a chef, and shortly before I was born, he found out about the vegan benefits, and he switched to vegan over the course of a couple of years in which I was born. And he switched over to vegan foods, and he started experimenting quite a lot. And so he found out all these cool things along the way. And after quite a short time, people were very interested in getting him to come for their vegan restaurants. So we moved quite a lot as a family. But the main thing about eating was that, yeah, we kids would visit dad in the kitchen, in the evening, and we would like beg for food a little bit and say, "Oh, Daddy, don't you have something for us?" and so on. And he would make us a plate of some vegan food. And for us, it was just a good time. But now I realize that I was privileged because that was food other people pay 30 euros for.
Right.
So this was basically my upbringing. So I was very spoiled with my tongue. And yeah, had the privilege of growing up vegan.
So raised as a vegan and still hadn't arrived. How old were you when your diet shifted away from vegan cooked to vegan raw?
Yeah, that was just 2.5 years ago, so it was relatively recent. Um, yeah, strange thing because even though I'm no child no more, it's still interesting how in many topics my mother starts first with anything. She's curious. She still likes learning new stuff. So she started about almost 4 years ago now to do raw vegan, just as a self experiment, and also because she was intrigued by the idea of what she was hearing. And all of us kids were like, "What are you doing, mom?" But we watched her, and we watched her change and get clearer skin and look more fresh and be more happy. And yeah, that convinced me enough to then change my diet as well 2.5 years ago, and have not looked back since. I mean, I've made exceptions, sure, but uh, those were exceptions more out of social and relational things, but not necessarily from a health standpoint. I was convinced this is an upgrade. This is the better way of doing things, and I can feel it. I can understand it, and yeah, and I can taste it too.
Sure.
You can really taste that, even just taste wise, it's worth the effort. And in many respects, by now, that's one of the main motivations now, even for me, because it's just the higher quality food. It's not something I think I have to do for health reasons, but it's something that I actually want to do. Also, from a culinary perspective, it's just more tasty.
A lot of people look at raw food as a penalty. I look at it as a prize.
Mm,
You're saying the same thing. It's wow, this is what I get to do. I can, if I want to choose the best, then I would be choosing
mm,
the raw fruits and vegetables. Um, and and it's neat. There's not a lot of people that can say like my mother and my father were the biggest influences in my choosing healthy food.
hmm
Sure, mom and dad have always taught us about food, but to say that, oh yeah, mom and dad led the way towards healthy food puts you in a very elite group of people,
Mm.
uh, which is kind of neat. But who are some of the other influences in your food world?
Well, when I left home, like I was 19, 20. When I left home, I basically fell back to vegetarian because out of comfort reasons, out of not wanting to be bothered about food all the time.
Yeah.
My main passion to drive me towards what I work was with cars, and so food took a back burner. It was not the most important thing. And being in Bavaria, I took in lots of cheese and lots of stuff I'm not so proud of now. But those were like maybe 10 years or so, almost, maybe 9, of eating a lot like that. But then I had a girlfriend who was vegan, and she was vegan mainly for reasons for the animals and love for the animals, not so much from a health standpoint. But I remembered, of course, all the good times I spent with mom and dad in the kitchen and stuff, and yeah, and I wanted to show her, of course. So that made me come back to veganism, and I quite enjoyed that upgrade again to finally convince myself that it was worth the effort of doing a little bit more work at home and then also reaping the benefits. And so that was one other step that really helped me then to
Mm-hmm.
improve. I mean, food wise, I don't know. I mean, sure, there are many smaller things that might encourage one to look at food in a new way or something, but the main influence for sure was home. So my father, as long as he lived, but then also mother, of course, and both of them never stopped learning new things, and they were very excited when they discovered something new that actually worked quite well. And so quite often that was part of our family story to talk about these things.
Right.
And it was also always a very high so food always played a very high role in just general well-being and general enjoying life. And so that was, yeah, deeply ingrained in our family.
Okay. Uh, if you were to recommend books by authors that have that you feel are positive influence, where would you start that list? Well, let's think in terms of food firstly. I know you have a favorite author,
Yeah,
a
well,
woman from quite some time ago, actually. Huh?
yes, Ellen White. She wrote quite a bit about food and health, but of course that is not something that is like easy reading or something that is just uh, might not suit everybody's situation. But her writings are very complete and very thorough, but might sound harsh to an unused ear or whatever.
Mm.
But that's definitely recommendable. Um, yeah, well, most of the books. Well, to be quite honest with you, I didn't read that much on veganism and
Interesting.
on raw veganism. I mean, I read the China study. I read your book. and that pretty much for me was convincing enough to say, yeah, okay, I'm doing this.
So when you have the influence at home, you don't need to
No,
read all the other material. I mean, there's hundreds of books and hundreds of videos, and you don't need that influence. And I think this is hugely important for anybody who has children
Mhm.
to realize
Yeah,
how much the parents are the influence. I mean, my daughter says the exact same thing. She's never read anything on health, on nutrition, on vegan, on raw food, never listened to my books or tapes or audios or anything, no video. Um, she goes, why would I have to do that? I've got you.
yeah. Life is always better.
So you had those fantastic influences, and that's really good. And then you decided to start making food as well. For some reason, come to Culinary Skills Week. Why would you come to Culinary Skills Week? You knew so much.
Well, I was really intrigued. So I started 2018, February of 2018, after a period of fasting. Then broke my fast with raw vegan foods, and just never looked back from there. So I bought the book, read it, and took out a calendar, wrote each day what I ate, what I felt like, and stuff like that. Did that for 2 years actually to really have a good idea of what is actually happening with me. And I tried to immerse myself as much as possible to like speed up the process of knowing what I'm doing. And also, yeah, I was also fascinated and intrigued by the whole thing. So I looked online, okay, where do those kind of people meet? Found out the Fruit Fest in Denmark. So went there, convinced my mom to join me. That was pretty cool. And then after that, okay, what else do we have? Okay, it's supposed to be on next year again, but then it wasn't. And then, okay, what can I do instead? Oh, okay, maybe Culinary Skills Week. Oh, but it's all the way back in Sedravulli, which is like almost the other side of the
It's
world.
9 time zones for you.
Yeah,
It's
but
almost the other side of the world.
I thought, heck, I mean, what do I have my good job for if that is something I can afford, that even if it's an expensive holiday? Oh, okay, well, I'll do that. So just for personal benefit, basically, did I do Culinary Skills Week. I was just interested in doing this for myself. And to be quite honest, I really like making fancy food for myself once in a while. Not so much because I like the effort. I don't like the effort. I'm super lazy, but I like the special tastes because
Sure.
I grew up that way.
The
And to
dining
me, it is
experience.
a piece of life quality.
Absolutely. What would you say was your biggest struggle in converting from cooked vegan to raw vegan?
Pooh.
Biggest challenge? Could have been social, could have been the actual doing it. Were there any?
There were plenty. Would be hard to maybe pick one, but
3.
well, shopping, for example, just the different kinds of, okay, what do I shop? How much do I shop of what? What kind of balance of volumes or weight or whatever of veg and fruit and salad and stuff. The first half year, I almost didn't do any kind of greens, and it was super easy to buy and super easy to eat, but I felt that okay, something's missing. And I even had a tinge of bad conscience when I was eating green because I was thinking, oh, this is not right. But once I finished the book, I knew that it was perfectly fine. So that was one challenge. The other challenge, well, socially, it was quite funny because I've been eating vegan for quite some time at that point, and even in my times when I was eating vegetarian, I was being quite meticulous about the quality of the food because I couldn't be bothered with bad taste. I just couldn't, and so my colleagues knew about that, and when we were in the canteen, they would always look what Raphael had on his tray because it would be kind of interesting for them. But nothing really changed. But once I switched over to raw vegan, and brought my bowl of something, like plums or whatever, 20 plums, 30 plums, and the other people having their food, people started talking. People started asking questions. I mean, if you walk in a canteen that way, you've got 100 pairs of eyes looking at you, if
Sure.
at least. And at first, that was very unnerving and took a lot of courage for me. But I just wanted to do it. I wanted to be authentic towards myself,
Absolutely.
and so it was a bit of a rough introduction, but I'm glad I stuck with it, because actually nowadays I find it easier, because everybody thinks they know vegan, which they don't, but they think they know vegan. But what I do, nobody knows really. So people actually have an authentic curiosity. They don't just have, oh, what are you doing, silly, or something. That's what maybe how they say it, how they formulate it, but their curiosity is authentic. And it's easier for me, much easier for me to deal with that than it was before with veganism, where many people just thought that I do it for matters of have to, rather than want to. But with this, it's pretty clear that it's free will, and so the social challenge by now, 2.5 years into that road, is actually pretty cool. Actually, I'm looking forward to the questions now, and the funny faces,
Right.
because it's just
an
just
open
cool.
door.
Yeah.
It's an open door. It's an opportunity for you.
Yes.
People want to know. They're always looking in your grocery cart. People know what they're doing isn't working. They're looking for answers, whether it's weight control or health or some other type of fitness management. But they know what they're doing isn't working, and they're curious. So the question, as you say, may not be worded in the most kind way when they first approach you, but it's an open door for sure. It's an open door. And what did you find the easiest part of making a transition from cooked to raw?
Breakfast, fruit breakfast. that was so. The first time I heard about this kind of lifestyle, that was even before I did the main switch.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I heard from my mom that this was something new and something good, and I finally heard the legitimation that, yes, Raphael, you actually can eat an all fruit breakfast and not be disadvantaged in any way.
Mm-hmm.
I felt liberated.
Yes.
I really felt like, oh, this is cool. I can do this. It is a good thing to do. And so even before 2.5 years ago, I started with all fruit breakfast, because it was just good fun. One more thing about the social thing. I once had a really nice situation where I was like really a full cart of fruit and veg, like almost 100 euros of fruit and veg. And I was at the counter, and there was a lady behind me, and she was like, and shaking her head, and you knew that it was working with her, but she didn't have the courage to say anything. And then the cashier, she said something like, "You're gonna eat all that?" I said, "Yeah," and not much else, and packed again. And then the lady behind me, once she had checked out as well, she came over to me. I was still packing stuff into boxes. She said, "This is it. This is it. Thank you so much for doing this now, because now I know I have to go back to vegan. That is my kind of construction site, my next step. This is crazy, but thank you for showing me." So I was helping her be courageous, and that satisfies so much.
Sure. So you're being an influence even when you don't know you're being an influence. You're being watched.
Yes.
Even when you don't know you're being watched. These are important concepts, I think, to get us to be our best at times when we might let our guard down or be frustrated, or we're still being watched and you have no idea who the next person is that you're going to influence. If you were to say off the top of your head 3 character traits that define you, who are you? 3 character traits, or 1 or 5.
I'm a very analytical guy.
Okay.
Analytical maybe combined with lazy. So that's why I'm an engineer, right? I like to find out how things work. And I'm not content with just working my ass off to make it work. I want to find the best solution and fix it once and then have it done. So I'm a very analytical guy. That also makes me sometimes very discontent because things are not optimal in our world, by far not. So I'm not the happy-go-lucky like maybe my sister. She's more. I envy people like that who could just get up in the morning and just are 100% happy. Yeah, I'm usually like, what are the things today I need to do? Okay, that's one thing. Something I have learned during the later years of my life now is I really want to put people first. So that this is gaining an increasing part of my life, which I also really enjoy. It's just worth more to connect with people. The third maybe is once I do a job, I want to do it very, very well. So I'm meticulous. I try to think it over like a couple of times to make sure that it's that it's round and that it's balanced and stuff like that. I like to look at the whole thing, not just optimize one part to the detriment of the neighbor, but just try to make the whole thing work. So yeah, maybe like that.
Fantastic. Are you working on any projects or future plans that you can tell us about?
There are a couple of things that I think about at the moment, but nothing really kind of has that feel of that being it yet. As I said, I'm an engineer, so my main work is with cars, not with food at all. But especially through this switch and through seeing that me making food actually helps other people or inspires other people, and also me having so much fun doing it and remembering all the cool stuff I learned growing up just watching, makes me think hard about what I might do with that in the future and how I might maybe make that a bigger part of my life. I've not yet figured out how best to do that, but Let's Cook Raw is a good idea to just have a part of that go to good work. So yeah, other than that,
There is a rumor that there's going to be another Austria Fruit Festival.
yeah, I heard.
You're gonna run that, right? You'll head that up. So we've got that in the works for sure.
Yes. I'm going to together, of course, with the other guys from the team. So my mother and Helder and maybe a couple of others too, to set up the Austria Fruit Fest.
Good. It was a huge success this time.
To make sure we repeat that. Yeah, it was a cool thing to do.
And you've been on Let's Cook Raw several times.
Yes.
How's that experience been?
It's been pretty cool. I mean, me and Larissa basically started off with doing this, and she said that she had the idea watching my little clips on was it Facebook? I think Facebook. No, it was WhatsApp. I think just on WhatsApp. Shared some clips while I was in Myanmar doing raw food workshops. And so she said, oh, okay, once the lockdown was there, oh, okay, maybe we can do some Zoom cooking along and stuff. And so that's what we did. And after the first one was unrecorded, but the second one then was recorded. Right. And that's how we started off. And she's pulled into such a strong lead now, inviting all those really cool people out there who know so cool things about raw food preparation, that it's become something I'm quite proud of for her, to have established something so cool. And I'm deeply humbled that I might be, making food alongside those great people that have lot more experience than I do with these kind of foods, and are just cool people to be with.
What are you going to make next?
I don't know yet. No. I'll have to draw up, like food combining chart and stuff, and then think about what is in season and try to figure out what I want to do.
Exactly. Always those considerations. So if you were going to leave like what we would call parting shots or a lasting message to the people watching this video, what would you want to tell them? What would you tell them?
Don't stop striving for 100%. Don't stop striving for the best. If you settle for 80% solutions, you will not have the strength to go to the 100% solutions because you've already spent your energy for the 80. Don't bother with the 80. Wait until you can do 100 and then go 100. It's worth it. Sure, it's not the only way to reach 100, but it's the easiest way to reach 100. So if you want the best quality of life and the best quality of health in your life, then make that decision and make it 100%. That'll do you so much more dividends than trying to struggle and trying to define what kind of percentage or whatever. Just do it. Go for it.
I know for me, when I commit to anything 100%, the obstacles just fall out of the way. The only thing I can see is my goal, and all the obstacles turn into paper and melt out of they just become,
Yeah.
they're not even there. I don't even see them. So you just go for the goal. Raphael, it's a treat to have you on our show. It's really wonderful to get to spend some time with you and to find out a little bit more who is the man behind all these beautiful creations. That you bring such a relaxed, capable energy to the kitchen. You're just very calm about the whole thing, and we love what you bring and what you do for us. And I just want to thank you again very much for being on the show.
You're welcome. My privilege.